kina semdol ka ke mofa seda.
We are wanderers, neutral and in service to all of New Eden. We rescue the lost and light the way through Thera. We sail forbidden seas. Come explore with us. Signal Cartel. Can't stop the signal.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Talking in Stations. I'm your host Rain and I'm joined by our lovely engineer Ben, as you see, and we have two guests for you today. So I'm going to give slight introductions by telling you their names and they're going to give their introductions themselves. So we'll start with Switch 4.
I'm Switch 4, the CEO of Heretic Army, one of the lead FCs for the Angel Cartel. Started this game in 2007 and we've been basically pirating and griefing within the Amamake and Haimatar region since 2008.
Alright, and DX.
Hello, my name is DX, or at least what pilots call me. Been around from 2008, and been PvPing mainly. And now currently stuck in Guristas.
Alrighty, welcome to the show, you two. So Ben, this is all Ben's, I'll say, brainchild. He was like, "Hey, Havoc's been out for I believe only 3 months now, right?
Yeah.
Like barely out. You guys have obviously taken a deep dive into flying with pirates and aligning yourselves with pirates, and so we kind of want to do a recap of what CCP shared and kind of how that actually played out.
Yeah, so let's see what's been showcasing back in September. So, let's go back to memory lanes here. So they were announcing Zarzac, the fact that we could align with pirates, the Pirates Insurgency, new content, and a lot of stuff. Like the LP store was brand new, and they were announcing those super ships. Spoke a little bit about where it is gonna get imbricated, concerning the direct enlistment that was actually existing for all the empires. And then you got the front line, the advantages, and some of those stuff. They also did a little link with Vanguard that was still in process, and it should impact the corruption and suppression mechanics. Then a little reminder about the future of war, because they did write frontline in nullsec. So for those that are concerned by those, sub warfare and player structure. And that's what's gonna help you understand with our two guests here who they are at war with, and why some section of the ISEC might be more dangerous than others for them. So with DX representing the Gurista, all the people from let's say the militia of the Caldari and the Galanti, plus the NPCs, well, not big fans of them. Then we got Switch 4 that is representing the Angel Cartel, that is pretty much the same situation, but with the Angels and the Minotaur. And from there, they did speak about the benefits and the access of Zarzac. Quite sure that we're gonna get more into the state and the use of Zarzac as now. What is the advantage of being with pirate PvE wise? LP store, and what do we got here? Yeah, okay, corruption suppression. So they did speak a little bit about that, because for those of you that do not know, when you get into pirate warfare, you want to spread corruptions and get up to, let's say, corruption 5 to take a system, but sometimes you'll want to get further into the war zone, so you want to be precise in which system you take, because after a certain amount of corruption, it expands to other system beyond the borders. And also there's been some tweaks that in due times can help you reach a lot of system if you're really into it. So here, like they were like announcing that it should be like a discrete, asymmetric warfare inside the war zone. It has a beginning and an end, so that's really like something that you don't have with the empires. And yeah, there's a winning and a losing side. Dynamics, player-based activities stretch beyond the bounds of traditional factional warfare. Yes, indeed. And let's just see. And I think it's going to be enough for now. So,
All right, where do you start, Ben?
yeah, let's start with Switch 4. When you look at that, what did you initially expected from like this presentation from CCP?
I mean, myself and all my guys were pretty excited about it. A lot of us were around for the start of, well, we did start the Minmatar faction warfare when that was first released. What was that, back in, I think, like 2011 or so? So we had a lot of high expectations for it, but we did have, our some cautious optimism as far as it goes with how it was actually going to work. And some of it has seemed to have gone to plan, but there are several things, such as like the use of Zarzac and the FOB and stuff that haven't really met a lot of people's expectations there.
Okay. What about UDX? What did you initially expected?
Well, I mean, probably have too high hopes, but it's. I think that's a common problem in general when it comes to Eve. So, of course, everyone was excited, and as soon as they, released the Guristas and Angels, like, yeah, I'm gonna go Guristas. I think they're cooler.
Oh. So,
Yeah, kind of hope more for Zarzac, and I think most of the faction warfare pilots there is for Guristas and Angels in common grounds there, I think.
okay, you both spoke about like a Zarzac that is like this like a pirate system that was supposed to be super great and everything. What's the deal with Zarzac right now?
Well, I mean, they have that shipcaster, and with it only being a one-way shipcaster really affects things. The asset safety with the FOB, they could do a lot of better things with that. So it really doesn't make it easy or helpful using Zarzac the way it's set up right now.
So basically, you set up in the war zone somewhere, and just like any other group would do, and there's no advantage of using Zarzac. Like it's even like worse, for like, because of the way Zarzac is operating. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you have the helpfulness of it with the industry side of things with the system, the industry bonuses you get. But other than that, without it being like the two-way shipcast or anything, there's not really viable ways to go back and forth between the different insurgencies. Essentially, it doesn't make it viable for staging within Zarzac right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a common problem. I think most militias actually see, or both of the faction pirate militias see. It has its industrial bonuses, but I'm mainly into PvP myself, so it doesn't really bother me. It's at the moment Zarzac is a great travel system. That's it.
Nice. So, well, aside from Zarzac and the use of the FOB also, before we go further, so that people understand, like the shipcaster, since it's only like a one way, and that the mechanic was meant to like stage, also put a lot of ships into the FOB, but then after that, once like you meet the end of the insurgency, all what do you do with your ship? The FOB is gone, and like you need to do something with those. Like there's no asset safety. There's no like either if you win or not. So it's a lot of hassle to like always be moving those ship around. Like, do you know of any groups that actually make use of this this way of living?
Personally, I do not. Most everybody, the groups around here have their own staging system. Just normal staging system that they work out of. With everything being so close in range, you can get to most everything with 5, 6, 7 jumps or so. So it's really not worthwhile using the shipcaster or anything.
Yeah, Guristas have pretty much the same thing. I know a lot of guys that using, alts and stuff like that, transporting on closest high sec and going for that to the fob. Yeah, there's literally no meaning for using either the fob or Zarzac, in my opinion, at the moment. There's potential there, but they need to do some changes.
Okay, interesting.
The fob's essentially nice for tethering to repair your ships when you happen to be in the area fighting.
Yeah, free repairs. That's it.
Wow, as useful as any structure. Okay. So concerning like everything that has been announced back in September, do you consider that it was delivered well?
I mean, I think there's a lot of success to it. It as far as the content standpoints, it did bring a large amount of content, especially into the Heimatar region, because it was kind of getting stagnant with Minmill and Amar Mill. Amar Mill was kind of dying off at the time. So I mean, it definitely did bring in a massive rush of content in a short period of time.
Yeah, that goes for Guristas as well, actually. And I've seen a lot of change in the Gurista or Galari and Galente faction warfare now, so we'll see how it plans out a little bit. But yeah, it definitely brought in content. We'll see a little bit how it works out in a few months when perhaps it's dying off a little bit or returning to a normal level. I think seagulls and shit like that.
Could you explain what we call seagull?
Yeah, sure. Like in any of I think that's both for normal faction warfare and the pirate one is that people using cheap alts getting into the plexus, claiming that loyalty points that maybe you capturing and stuff like that, and just warring on it if you would say kill mail terms. Um, just stealing it or diluting the loyalty points because it's capping at a certain level amount of players become on each flex. So it's a great way to get a loyalty points and earn ISK. So and unfortunately, people take advantage of that.
Okay. As organization, like, is it easy to fund the war effort with the current mechanics that has been introduced?
I don't think anything's really changed as far as that aspect goes. There's a easier access to large amounts of LP, which people can fund things that way. But for the most part, everyone still is everybody has their own. Every corp, every person has their own ways for funding the war efforts, and I don't think that's really changed much.
So the seagulling that we saw is not a lot of the pirate warfare that you guys are using. Is that it?
Yeah,
Go
well, I think it's a common mechanic in both, like both the Empire faction warfare and the Pirate one, because they function at the same principles, so and the same ways, and it's a problem in faction warfare in general, in my problem, but there is no easy fix for it. And it's nothing I use personally, so I'm using my own one tune, and just having fun. I'm PvP mostly, so
Nice.
It's the same here for Angel Cartel. Most pilots that you talk to, they disapprove of the whole seagull mechanic, and a lot of it is looking into ways that we can combat that. Kill them without taking too much of a angel standing hit, and kind of get people to shy away from that mechanic.
Yeah, because that's a good point there. Because just to bring people up to speed concerning that, when people are let's say seagulling or whatever, it's you cannot shoot them because since they are in the same militia, then you get a huge standing loss if you do so, and the standing is quite hard to get back up. So it's like when you got at one plex and there's like already like 5, 6, 7 like people, and you're like, well, that won't be a nice 15 minute of CFC going, since like nothing's gonna be happening. So yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's a hard mechanic to combat as well. So, but yeah, like I said, there's things to improve in general, especially like for bigger groups or like alliances to want to, help new people to get into the faction warfare or the pirate warfare, and having LP buyback would be nice again, even though they exploited it.
Mm. Yeah, like, but well, please talk about that. What about happened with the LP exchange, and how did it affect both of your organizations?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of bigger groups that you know uh, went into the sites and got so much LP they donated LP and everything like it, so they could grab. I'm not sure what the time was to grab the new Titan. It was really quick before the news got out that someone already got it. But yeah, it kind of affects us as a smaller alliance at least to help you know um, you know help new pilots to get LP buyback and be able to donate stuff like that, and
Yeah, it's
let
quite
us grow.
limiting.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And I think they talked about they are looking at re-implementing that, but they had taken it. I can't remember the exact reason that they had talked about why they took it away. It might have been for that whole Titan reason, but I know they did talk about the possibility or probability that they will re-implement that at some point.
Was that where they took it away and then they said like declared an exploit if you're I thought people were like somehow farming their own LP and just essentially creating LP by farming alts or something and then donating it to
Yeah,
themselves to afford. Okay. So
yeah,
there.
that was a separate issue, but that was people making
Oh, okay.
alts with the enemy militias and then just undocking and killing them over and over and over again, just to farm that LP that would come in. That was the big problem there.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah, but it's kind of like not taking away the problem completely either, because you can still set LP tax to 100%. So it doesn't really get rid of the problem. It just limits those who use the system for a good thing.
Yeah. Um, if we still look back at what has been announced and what's the situation now, like how would you say that it evolved, sorry, from there?
I mean, the initial start was just a unorganized chaos, free for all. Power struggle between different groups. Who's going to have the lead Discord? Who's going to be the lead FCs? And it's definitely calmed down quite a bit from there. I mean, you still have your core groups that are heavily involved, but a lot of it is just a lot of nullsec blocks that aren't actually really a part of the militia itself. Helping out with activities and stuff.
Not even fraternity?
Fraternity, in my opinion, is a plague on our militia and our goals for each insurgency or for the cartel. Uh, it's really tough to organize pushes on specific systems like you talked about earlier. One of our big goals is to push that corruption into high security systems such as a bud bin so we can, have camping activities with Wrens. One of the first insurgencies, we did do that, and we spent about a week camping the Wren's Gate and the bud bin when we got that to Corruption 5. And this last time around, trying to organize uh, just the general militia members to make that collective push, it's kind of difficult when you're dealing with the groups like Fraternity because they don't usually seem to care about the collective push. It's more just an LP grab.
Yeah, like get any like corruption 5 system and just like seagull it to death. And is
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have fraternity actually going a lot into Kaldari, fighting us a lot actually. I haven't seen that much frats in Guristas though, so we're
oh,
we're actually fighting frat quite often. They're actually contesting our size quite a bit.
Okay, so they do bring content on your side. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll give them props. Fraternity was involved last night heavily in a fight against Minmatar militia. This will be the first insurgency I think that Angels are going to lose. A lot of that came into with the bug issue. At least some of us have been having with the audio, not able to actually do anything. But Fraternity ended up killing a couple Minmatar militia Zernitras last night, and the bomber gang that came to reinforce the FOB.
Yeah, yeah, like the fall. It's the first time that something happened to the pirates on the defensive side. DX like the this week I think something happened to the Gurista's fob.
Yeah, it actually got destroyed. So it's kind of going hand in hand with Angel here. Like, yeah, we had really nice push by Galente pilots, both from Sedit and their Isaac group, I think it is, or like their New Bro group. Really pushing us, really putting out a fight there for the systems, and we showed up defending it here, and yeah, we lost some zealots, trying to defend it, got outnumbered quite a bit, but at least showed a force. It was really nice though. I think it's good that they're actually waking up and providing the extra content, which I think is the main idea with this as well. Breathing new life into the faction warfare.
Do you think like this fob attack now has anything to do with what has been released a few weeks ago concerning the ambition system that allows you to get more system every single time you win an insurgencies?
That definitely helped, like Minmill for sure. I think we're at 7 systems or 7 or 8 systems is what we need right now, and so that definitely did help them because we're at I think 6 systems, where we would have been completed already. I don't know about Garistas, but the other thing we're seeing is like Minmill has a large EU wing, and Angel Cartel right now is lacking in that area. So a lot of the large pushes on these systems are happening while most of us, the U.S. side of things, are at work.
What about the
Yeah,
Guri?
yeah. I'm not sure how the split is, more active or that. I'm European myself, so been having nice content there most of the times. So and same for Angel here. It's like I think this is the first loss we're gonna take that we took at least, and I'm pretty sure Angel is gonna have a hard time defending that fob. Um, so it's nice. I think they did the right change here. So it's kind of like pushes them into defending and actually contesting this, and not just rolling over or just avoiding it. So I think it's a good change.
Nice. Yeah, do you think that we'll ever be able to push it up to Jita?
No, we can't because of the security status. That
Oh,
you can't push.
nothing
Yeah,
higher than 8, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
nothing higher. So, but I think it's definitely made the right change because now if the contest, like the contested systems, if they don't contest it and fight us, they're gonna have to live with the consequences of the systems being fully corrupted for a longer period of time. And like if you push it up to, I think the cap was 20. That's a lot of systems that's going to be corrupted, and they need to live with the consequences. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the big reasons we saw such a hard push this time out of Minmill with our FOB was based in Bossbogger, and it hit uh, Domelin and Ossiger and a Budbin, which is one of their core areas. They have industry groups that they actually stage there, and they took a large hit that time when we were camping a Budbin for about a week, and I know it caused a large stir on the forums and a lot of people unhappy with CCP, and they ended up changing the autopilot route signatures. When you set an autopilot route, they actually gave it a different graphic to let hey, these systems are contested or corrupted, because a lot of people lost a lot of ISK just from those gate camps.
Yeah, we got a question in chat that you'll be able to answer concerning the mechanics, because people are starting to worry. Can UEDEMA or other trade rule bottleneck be blocked, like by the insurgency?
Yeah. Well, more just like any gate camp in LoSec, you can bottleneck things. Yeah, that depends on really where you push it and where the fob is, how many systems you need to go. I mean, I think we kind of had the same deal here, like the fob being next door to
Mm-hmm.
UFIETs,
Yeah.
being one of the systems where they stage from. So we got heavily resistance from Galente, and yeah, it definitely will put things on the marker map, and they're like they need to do something, or it's gonna be costly in the run, and in the long run, you know.
Yeah, that's their big push for, if the malicious do hit suppression 5 in a system, that actually prevents us from getting to corruption 5. It actually puts a block on it, so that completely affects the ability to camp those systems and do those things.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, so those that don't know, like UDM is like a 0.5 security status, meaning that like if the fob is close enough and that they can extend that way, it can certainly like be like get into low sec and some fun can be have there.
I'm curious. So I know we talked a lot about what CCP had planned and what actually came out. Do you guys see this as like CCP released everything and they're done, or do you think they're going not just iterate but add more?
I'm hoping they add more and they fine tune things and tweak things. I would really hope you wouldn't put out a major expansion like this and just call it quits. I know they made a lot of changes, after Mimitar Militia, the faction warfare was first released. I think they spent a couple years fine tuning things and changing things around, and then I would imagine that's what they'll do with this. I imagine we'd see potential Zarzac changes and shipcaster changes and more fine tuning with this uh, uh, the corruption system, with the numbers, like so the caps at 20. I think we'll see more changes that way too.
Alrighty.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hope they work more on it because there is some, quirks to iron out. Asset safety from FOB, where does it go? Does it go to any of the systems where the FOB is? Should it go back to Zarzac? Can you make a two-way shipcaster to Zarzac to make it more attractive to stage from? Could you? Oh, I have something else. I dropped it. There's some nice changes that you can do and work on, and I definitely hope they do. It's I finally find more fun to delve into the pirate side of the faction warfare, and it can be really fun to push into high sec and contest those high sec systems and push them to act like a low sec system.
Nice. So, what would you say it's the state of like the Havoc expansion content at the moment?
I was reading something. I missed your question. Sorry.
So, like the question being, like, what do you think is the state of the Havoc content at the moment?
I mean, it's still there. There's still a whole lot of content to be had as long as you search for it. I think the amount of content has certainly dropped off, obviously, which was entirely expected from the first rush. That we started out with 100-man fleets, just kitchen sink fleets running around and just, curb stomping everything, and now we've kind of come back to that more organized. You have to be organized to organize fleet comps and personnel to actually attain the goals that we were doing pretty easily before.
Okay.
Yeah, the same for Goristas actually. It's require more work to be able to contest things and find content and stuff like that. When it's the hype is dying down or returning to a normal level. Yeah.
Okay, so the hype is dying down. Okay, like a lot. Like what would be like if you compare to the initial hype of Havoc to what is now? Like, are we like below like the 50% like engagement, or like where are we like approximately?
25% of what it was, I'd say.
Yeah, something around there, 25,
Both,
30%. Yeah.
both and say, oh, okay. So below the like 1/4 of the initial hype. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that is a lot, and I think that's kind of why they need to iron out some of the quirks and stuff like that. Try to improve it. I have a few things to say about the crime watch system in in those lawless high-sec systems as well. That doesn't work as intended, I don't think. So
Please tell us about that.
yeah. So as normally in high-sec, if you engage a neutral pilot, you will get concorded. You will get a criminal flag. So you also get kill rights on you because you're engaged in criminal activity, which is
Mm-hmm.
how the system is designed to work. When we push a system up to corruption 5 in a high sec system, it will act like a low sec system. So you can engage someone, you get a suspect timer, but you still get a kill right on yourself as you would in a normal high sec system. I know there's some people that using the system to farm kill rights and trying to sell them to earn ISK, which is valid for them.
Is it
But
working?
yeah, it's not supposed to work like that. I'm pretty sure, but it is currently. So you should just get the suspect timer, but you do get the kill rights on you. Even if you don't kill the person, you still get the kill rights, so they can sell it or make it available for everyone for cash.
That's super
That's
interesting. I did not
yeah.
realize that you could do that.
No,
We s-
I kind of figured that out like today. So
we saw a big push with that. That like I think it was that second insurgency where we actually got that push into a bud bin and camped for a while. There was actually a lot of people within Angel Cartel itself farming kill rights off of other people, just for content. So you'd have an entire fleet up, and then they'd take a kill right on one person, and then there's nothing you could really do about it, within that high sec system. And there was a lot of people that were bringing in neutral alts, rookie ships, and they jump into our gate camps and just sit there and wait for somebody to pop them to keep accruing all those kill rights. And it got to the point where we obviously figured it out and stopped shooting them. So we'd be sitting there with 5, 10 random neutral rookie ship pilots just sitting there on our gate camps, just waiting for somebody to show up and blab them for the kill rate.
Wow.
yeah. So I don't think it's going to be an easy fix for them either because it's enveloped in the crime watch system. So it's going to be interesting to see if they are aware of it, how long it's going to take for them to take a look on it, if they can do anything, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
it's going to be
because
interesting.
I think it's this week, this CSM Summit, or
It
it's
is, yes.
so hoping that CCP is listening right now. Nice, nice, nice. So, what do you think should be improved, with this Havoc content, and how maybe?
I mean, for us, I like most of the direction it's going in the content. I'm curious to see what they implement in the future. With the seagulling and all that other stuff. I wish the open enrollment into it would kind of get looked at. I don't know what changes you'd make, but I think it really comes down to just a positive push for our aspect of things, a positive push with recruitment and getting FCs and getting more people interested in Havoc. So CCP making those changes that keep people around, outside of that first 3 month excitement window, and keep people coming back to check out the expansion and hopefully stay.
Nice. And UDX, anything that should be improved? You talked about like the criminal system. Anything else like that you're experiencing?
I mean, if really big ones will be make the double shipcaster or a shipcaster to return to Zarzac. I think that's gonna at least put more interest of staging out of that system. I think they still need to buff it slightly, but that depends on how they want to do it. Like what happens to assets if you have assets in a fob? Will it go to? Will it just drop? Will it go to the closest station where the fob is at, or will it go back to Starsack? Have clear like directions on what's going to happen with the stuff.
Well, with the one that you lost this week, did you had like any info on this?
No, I don't have any information about it. I rarely use the fob anyway, so it's an opportunity I missed.
Yeah.
I honestly I think they should there should be obviously a difference, if the pirate factions win the insurgency, it should go back to Zarzac or something like that. All those assets, not an asset safety, but it returns. Whereas if it's exploded, it should act like any other, structure where I don't know if it does or not, because again we don't use it for assets very greatly, but that stuff should get asset safety just as normal as anything else does.
Yeah, and if you do that, like putting the asset safety on the fob, if it gets destroyed, it should just, I think it's just go back to Sarsak, have that double ship caster. That's gonna, at least put more interest of staging out of it and using the fob. And if you, like I said, when you win, it should just go back to like Sarsak and be ready for staging to the next deployment and stuff like that.
Nice.
So, curiosity question, because there's a lot of talk about the shipcasters. So I know before Zarzac there were shipcasters being used, but I heard they were pretty. I want to say broken because you could go so far without going through space, but also that they weren't they just camped really heavily and people just didn't use them because the moment you took it, you were just gate camped, essentially, except it wasn't a gate.
I never saw any camps, like as far as the faction warfare shipcasters go. They weren't even
Yeah.
really used. It was just not worth building it, getting it to the operational function. And I don't know the exact mechanics behind it, but there's parts that you have to bring to it to activate it. And I never really saw them used a whole lot. I know the shipcaster when the insurgency stuff came out, I know that was camped quite often. People were camping that.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially in Sarsak.
Yeah.
And that's also a drawback in Sarsak is that you cannot descan in Sarsak, so you do not really have eyes on either the ship caster unless you're literally there. And Sarsak is a system that is very toxic to be in, of just vicinity of where it is at. So you only have very very limited amount of space you can move around certain celestials, like the station, the ship caster, the gates, and stuff like that. There's nothing else you can do without taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I got you.
Nice. Would there be anything else that you would like to add concerning the situation in the pirate warfare right now?
I don't really have a whole lot to add. It'd be nice to see maybe some changes with the new pirate ships that they put out, because essentially they're just expensive, faster warping versions of something that already exists. With your mechables are basically TFIs that warp faster, and your Kizreels are Hurricane Fleet issues, same thing.
Yeah.
maybe have a more of a reason to want to fly those.
Yeah. How about a skin change for the Grista ships? Hint, hint, CCP.
Yeah, like not only the skin or like the model, because like
No, the model. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, there's things to improve, which I hope they work on. But it's also nice if they could have some, transparency. Like, hey, we understand the changes. We're kind of like working on it, or some feedback about from CCP as well, what they're working on. That would also be nice. But yeah, I don't have anything else really.
So I'm curious, would you you're talking a lot about some of these changes to tweak of how the mechanics work. Would you want CCP to make other pirates kind of similar, where they have like their own enlistment and you can fight for, like, say, the Blood Raiders or the Serpentis or something along those lines?
I wouldn't want that personally, just because I think you start adding too much, you start diluting that base too much, and then the other factions don't become viable.
Yeah, I
Alright,
kind of
back
agree
it.
there. I agree.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the CSM minutes. Do you guys have, I don't want to say a CSM rep, do you guys have somebody you share your concerns with to the CSM that can take it to CCP, or do you talk to CCP directly?
I do not personally. A lot of my guys get involved with the forums and stuff like that and voice concerns that way. But otherwise, I just kind of am along for the ride over the years now. I think CCP is going to do whatever they kind of want to do. It seems like there's a lot more people that have a lot more voice, especially like the null blocks, that they're going to get their concerns reached first.
So as of now, there's no like CSM representative of the pirate factional warfare. So,
I don't know as far as Garistas, if you guys know of anybody. I don't know specifically. I know there were several people that had reached out to us, at the time with the CSM voting, that wanted to put a priority on low sec mechanics and stuff like that. And I know a couple that I had voted for did not get in. I'm not sure who's in there now that has that focus.
Yeah, I'm not really into it now, so don't sit on any information about that. So
okay.
yeah, there is like I said, there's a lot of mechanics and stuff like that in low sec as well. It's not only about null sec, but it's most of the people goes to. And usually takes the first first priority. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I do know. I remember, I think it was like Poshfin. They had issues with seagulling. Like, it was really bad. Like, nobody did Poshfin PvE because people just seagulled and it was worthless. But I know that because of the complaints, they actually fixed it. And so I wonder if you guys express those concerns. I don't know who you would tell. There's always, I mean, like Mike Azarias on the CSM, he's always good to share concerns with. But yeah, I'm curious because I do know they read the forums. Obviously, Ben's showing the forums now for the CSM summit. But it'll
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah,
I would hope some of the CSM would take those concerns to CCP.
I know there's been a lot of voice, on both sides of things, whether it's like Mimitar or Mar faction warfare, the pirate factions. I know there's a lot of concerns voiced on both sides, and I have seen some positive feedback, from CCP, from CSM representatives, as far as it goes. How far it goes, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, just because it gets it to CCP's ear doesn't mean it actually gets implemented in the game, sadly.
So reading that, the only thing that I think might be pushing into your direction is this section here, the LP ecosystem discussion. Aside from that, like if you look at what's going to be discussed, it doesn't seem to be pushing really into the Havoc or anything like that.
No, I mean, it looks like they're going to talk like ship balancing. I see that, like the small, medium scale ship balancing that could potentially affect us, but I don't know what kind of plans they have for that.
CCP is coming out with an expansion in Q2, so if that's related to Havoc or like adding on or tweaking things, that could also be included, which I don't believe they would actually list here. Or they would hide it in something else to make it seem like to kind of hide it from the players for NDA reasons.
Yeah.
So that's also just a consideration too.
It might fold into a little bit with the Vanguard updates too, as well, though.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So yeah, there was like an update, like the only update that we got is it was the one concerning the ambition, and Q1 is not over yet. So maybe we'll get something before the end of the month. Well, actually, if Q1's it ends at the end of March.
Yeah.
So we got nearly 2 months where they can still maybe surprise us with something that is Havoc related. Because if we look after that, it's going to be something else.
What is the summer? I honestly don't know. Like, have they announced what's part of that summer expansion then coming up?
No, but there's a sun, and we know that with with what like I showed earlier. Let's go back there. Oops.
Yeah, they've given hints in some of their dev blogs too. Like they're going to start looking at, I think, hints of like SOV warfare too.
Yeah, frontline in nullsec. That's
Yes.
from the fanfest. So it's in their plans and soft warfare and stuff like that. So well, we'll see what's gonna be happening there, and what's the mechanic that's gonna be showing off. Because like there have been a lot of talk on Reddit and other places concerning like being able to customize like your system using the sun mechanics that we saw in the past years. So maybe nullsec and wormhole. I really hope wormhole can also customize their systems so that you can get let's say a more diverse let's say part of space for yourself. So yeah, like that's only a prediction. Got no hard evidence, and I didn't sign any NDAs concerning that.
I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, after that, we'll see that it's gonna be focusing on nullsec a lot and Vanguard, so should be good.
That's what worries me too with Vanguard. Their big push with Vanguard, that Havoc in this expansion and stuff, as far as in-game wise, there might get kind of left in the dust a little bit. Even though Vanguard does tie into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where they take it, like, and how much traction it's gonna get, though. And how much I didn't there was like it should affect the faction warfare between the pirates and stuff like that with the Vanguard, or I think I heard something about that at least.
It increases the corruption supposedly of those involved systems. I don't know what the mechanic is for it, but the Vanguard thing's supposed to increase corruption.
Yeah, last week when we succeeded like a contract, it was like you had like this pop up like you've increased the corruption. So
Interesting.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only link that I saw between the two games. Oh, sorry, the module and EVE Online. Right words.
Yeah, it's also like it was. I'm not sure if I missed it or anything, like how much it increased by from the Vanguard and stuff like that. That would also be kind of interesting to see as a E player mainly.
Yeah, like
just
some data.
see how much, yeah, some data. How much did the Vanguard really push the system corruption up?
Yes, indeed. So anything else that we should add? Otherwise, could go like directly onto the shoutouts.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know we covered a lot, but did you guys have anything you wanted to talk about that we
Yeah.
may have missed?
As far as content wise and everything, no. I mean, I do have some shout outs I'd make though.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Well, for one, anybody who's watching, we do have an Angel Cartel public Discord, and with the confusion of this, it's nice to try to get everybody into one place and communicating entirely. So reach out and get that Discord information. It's just called Angel Cartel, and get everybody into one place. That's where a lot of the fleets are formed for the insurgencies. As such, Heretic Army and our Alliance Seraphim Division, we do have open recruitment right now, looking for pilots that are interested. We're also looking for a lot of building that EU time zone up, and looking for people that want to step up in FC. We do kind of have a lax FC training, kind of push for people. And then just like a shout out to all the people in Angel Cartel that are still stepping up and grinding and trying to follow the path that we're working on.
Nice, nice. So I just put the link to the Discord into the Twitch chat, so people can just directly click there and get all the information and enrollment that they need. And DX on your side.
Yeah, I mean, Black Rabbits, of course. Just come and join us and hang out with us, pushing the Greasta warfare. Don't need to be in Black Rabbits to fly with us. So, also shout out to Sedition for the content they provide. It's really fun to fight them. good, competent pilots. So more warfare to the faction warfare spaces. That's what we want, So come and fight us, or join and hang out with us. Push the corruption.
A lot of our fleets and stuff, we're really lax, laid back. We just kind of chill on comms, have a bunch of laughs, and just work at our goal.
Nice.
Yeah, same about Black Rabbits. 10 dudes also really good. Relaxed alliance that hang around with us as well. So
Yeah, let's see. Do I have a link? No.
Yeah, do you have a link for your Black Rabbits group?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
Can I grab one from the thing itself? I don't remember who gave it to me actually. I got one here.
Ben somehow has one anyway.
Yeah, cause magic.
Oh, you got a link?
I got a link. I hope it's not like a limited link. It's Romanex that sent it, so I don't know.
It's 500 people, right? It's not bad.
Yeah. So that is great. Rain, do you got like any shoutouts?
No, I just wanted to express my thanks for you guys to coming on the show. I know, right, I think this is probably your first time on Talking in Stations, and sometimes this stuff can be intimidating. So I appreciate you coming on, talking about it, and also expressing your concerns too. A lot of people like to sing CCP praise, but I think it's always good to kind of show what can also be improved upon, because we want the best for EVE Online.
Yeah.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining, for letting us join. Having a chat.
Yeah, and
Ben has a
I'll
shout
end
out.
out to my own shout out.
For their
So
part,
this
the
week,
Jovian
wait a
admits
minute.
sure to infiltrate
It's
the
too
high
fast.
gas level.
I don't know, like if the chat can actually hear that. That's a sneak peek about like this week, Chronicles of New Eden podcast that's gonna be coming out. So, chat, please tell me if you hear that.
Their part, the Jovian admits sure to infiltrate the high gas level of the Armor Covenant and military. When the Armor enter, invite Theo. The Jovian were waiting.
Nice. So chat did hear it, so I'm happy. So that's this week podcast from Damsna on the Chronicles of New Eden that you can get at on any of your podcast platform. Just type Chronicles of New Eden or Damsna, you'll get it there. And not only that, we also now get for those that are want to have like everything before everyone. Well, there's a Patreon that is now live, so we get different perks from it. Links it is in the chat too, and you can get like anything that is of your interest. Here we go. So enjoy. Yes. Here we go.
Alrighty, thank you, Ben. And with that, we'll see everybody next week. I know it's probably Super Bowl Sunday, but we're gonna have, which is like the biggest American holiday ever, but we're still gonna try and have a show. So otherwise we will see you in 2 weeks. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.